extent that we could work together and get together, we were going to try to reinforce as much as possible the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which is our real contract. Those of you, I'm sure you're all familiar with the 10th Amendment, which says those powers not granted to the United States by the Constitution nor denied to the states by it are reserved to the states respectfully or to the people. 28 words. That's our contract. Obviously not written by a lawyer. And so that was one of the intentions, was to reinforce that. And to some extent, you know, John Huntsman just won by 77%, the state of Utah. John Honing from North Dakota won by 72%. Mitch Daniels from the state of Indiana, who was the Bush managed budget office of budget management director under Bush initially, and then went home and ran for governor of the state of Indiana. All of those guys, and there's quite a few others, won re-election, and they won re-election very, very handily. I mean, 65, 70%. That gave them some real mandates. Now, when they go home, I mean, when they do some things at the state level, and I would tell you, Congress watches that pretty close, because that governor's been elected by the entire state. And if that governor's popular and his policies are popular, those legislative or congressional districts within that state, 53 in California, 2 in Idaho, they watch those things pretty close. And they say, you know, if I want to get reelected, this is what I probably ought to get on board with the governor. And getting on board with the governor means less regulation. It means more common sense. That's precisely where we need to go. You know, typical deal, and I apologize for that. You asked me what time it was, and I gave you the history of watchmaking here. But it is an awful important ingredient in government, is common sense. And I want to repeat something I said earlier. That's one of the things that I believe, in every one of my agencies, is I got common sense people. I got folks that came right out of business, that have met payrolls, that have seen downturns, that have seen products antiquate themselves on the market shelf and say, we've got to get something new in place, that knows what it is, that have dealt with government agencies that are so tied to the books that they won't think outside the box sometimes and get things going.